Welcome to My Business Matters, the Michigan Chamber podcast.
Hi there, I'm Wendy Block, Senior Vice President of Business Advocacy and Member Engagement for the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. It's great to be back again with another episode. Today, we are focused on small business, often called the backbone of our economy and communities. We are so lucky and fortunate to have two great resources and small business leaders with us today. J.D. Collins, who's the State Director of the Small Business Development Center in Michigan, and Lorri Rishar, the co-founder, owner, and CEO of Edge Partnerships, a small but fast-growing small business offering a full suite of branding and marketing services. Lorri's a longtime volunteer leader with the Michigan Chamber and serves on our board of directors. Thank you both for being here today.
Great to be here, Wendy.
Hey, thanks for having us, Wendy.
Yeah, so we've got some limited time. Let's get right into our conversation and some questions. JD, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit about the small business scene in Michigan. Where do we rank nationally, and what kind of impact do small businesses have here in our state?
Oh, boy, that's a great question, Wendy. And I can tell you this, that Michigan's doing a lot of things well on a national scale when you think about the work being done by our state, specifically through the MEDC, or the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. Michigan has a model that a lot of other states are following, and quite frankly, we're the jealousy of a lot of other states when it comes to the amount of attention and dollars that are put into the economic development scene here in Michigan. So I would put us at the top. I know that SBAM has a scorecard that we look at nationally, and Michigan is creeping up in that national scorecard due to a lot of investment in, we'll call it, some larger organizations coming to Michigan and setting up shop here. But it also has to deal a lot with the entrepreneurial spirit that we have in Michigan. We're seeing, specifically since the pandemic, a lot of people consider entrepreneurship, owning a small business, as part of their career path now.
Great, thank you. Lorri, on your end, you're one of Michigan's key small businesses. What does a small business owner mean to you? Why did you make the leap?
Because life got too boring for me working for somebody else. But we made the leap, my business partner and I, because we wanted to create an agency that we would want to work with. And we had hired from New York to Chicago, and we thought that Lansing could use the unique skill sets we brought, and have since built here in downtown Lansing, as well as in Marquette, Michigan, and Chicago. And so that entrepreneurial spirit got lit. I think Angela actually, lit it under me. I liked working for other organizations, but then really to be able to develop and create and birth your own business is an exceptional experience.
Yeah, definitely. And you've been very successful with that. Let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. I know we all kind of want to put that in the rearview mirror, but it did deliver a devastating blow to our state's small businesses in so many ways. And really, kind of depending on your industry, you may still be struggling to recover. But now that some time has passed, what do you see as any lingering impacts? I don't know. Maybe, JD, you want to jump in there, and Lorri, I'll throw a follow-up maybe to your way.
Boy, another great question there. One thing that we saw at the beginning of the pandemic was that small businesses that had a real firm grasp of their financials were able to weather the initial effects of the pandemic. And so if there's any lesson that we learned, is to make sure that when we're working with small businesses is to really dig down into, we'll call it just the basics of financial literacy, what makes your business profitable. Because having that understanding, quite frankly, led to a lot of either hard decisions, but decisions that had to be made in order to keep businesses alive. And quite frankly, some of those businesses that were well prepared thrived during the pandemic, or were able to kind of weather the storm better than others. I'd love to hear about Lorri's experience with this as well.
Yeah, Lorri, what do you think about some of these big challenges? I mean, certainly we're hearing a lot still about workforce issues kind of that have kind of been created coming out of COVID. What other things are you see?
So Edge is unique, and we started our agency in 2007 when the economy was definitely in the tank.
Yeah.
COVID, we seem to grow during periods of angst in our state and in our country. The need for marketing and PR continues. My heart goes out to all those businesses, especially the restaurateurs and hoteliers who lost their businesses.
Right.
And so the resources that the chamber provided to those to get through it, to help with the PPP loans, those opportunities. And I think every time we face those kind of economic hardships, especially as a small business owners, it creates new opportunities. For our business, a service-oriented business, we had to be agile and adapt to the needs of the market. And so our business model changed, and we're small enough and agile enough, and we brought in the right skill sets or developed those skill sets to meet the needs of the market. So out of devastation often comes opportunity.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So as we look at the current environment, we're talking about inflation being the highest it's been in over 40 years, these workforce and staffing issues ongoing, more issues with supply chain, et cetera. Lorri, what are you hearing from clients on this? What are their biggest challenges that they're facing right now? And, is your company kind of facing a lot of the same things they are? Like, can you be empathetic to some of these things? And do you think any solutions are on the horizon?
So across the board, we have a very diverse group of clients, from government entities to highly regulated insurance and banking industry. Talent is what the cry is. Because they're mostly service, the supply chain issue is not as significant to them. So the talent, and so for Edge, for our Marquette office, we actually built a location around the talent that existed. Northern Michigan University's up there. Mm-hmm. We had our eye on a couple of great and upcoming professionals. And because we live in now such a COVID, another opportunity that's come up is that we don't have to sit desk by desk to get our job done. We can do it across the miles. Geographical boundaries have fallen down. And so while we do have a physical presence in Marquette and people, boots on the ground, if you will, we're very intentional. We saw a need and we had the talent right there. So we took Edge to the talent.
Yeah, that's great. And I think we're seeing that in study after study of employees of what they desire. In fact, sometimes flexibility to be able to have some remote work, that sort of thing, is outpacing even salary in some cases, which is pretty wild, right? I mean, cash usually is king on these sorts of things. JD, what about you? What is the SBDC seeing and hearing about ongoing business challenges, and what are you guys trying to do to help here? I mean, similar to the chamber, I suppose.
Similar to the chamber, absolutely, and I can empathize with what Lorri said. It is about talent these days in the small business community. So, Lorri, I think we're perfectly aligned on that. What we're seeing, what is kind of hindering the growth in the small business community right now is the availability of talent. What we are trying to do is talk about the things that draw and attract talent to business, and that revolves around culture, revolves around right now the flexibility of workplace, and really kind of emphasizing how a business and employee relationship has changed as a result of the pandemic. So those are a few things that we're seeing from the talent perspective, but we're also seeing it on the tail end of a business life cycle as well, is that we're seeing, call it the baby boomer generation that built a business, grew a business, weathered the downturn of 2008, are now in a business transition mode, and they have a certain, we'll call it sacred cows, about wanting to transition their business in the right way with someone who's going to care and feed that business and maybe even grow that business after that transition. So business transition is another service that we're seeing quite an uptick with as a result of coming out of the pandemic. That business transition service has become more of a need that we're seeing across our state.
Yeah, for sure. So, Lorri, I know you're dealing with that yourself. Like you've been in your business for a number of years, and you're looking at that next generation. What has that experience been like for you as a small business owner?
You have to be very committed and dedicated, because you're running a business, but you really have to look and bring that next level up and take the time and teach
talent.
and teach them. And I also want to give again, out of our angst and our challenges emerge many opportunities. And one of those opportunities that I keep thinking about, have come to mind, ARP Michigan is re-engaging seniors to get back into the workforce. They also have programs to, if you had, in your young age, you didn't finish your college degree, to help pay for it almost completely to give you new skills to go out. So just because you turn, I mean, we're living longer and we're healthier and we're stronger, and I say that now as, as I enter my mid-50s, that let's tap into that resource, which, ageism is something we need to acknowledge and look at, and invite that talent back into our workforce to be mentors, to help us in leading that next generation, and to learn all that we can from that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And one resource I just wanted to share with our audience that the Chamber is offering is we are putting together our very first Small Business Summit. It's going to be on April 5. It's a full in-person event in Livonia. And the day is built around networking and connecting. But some of the opportunities and topics that we'll be exploring include managing the modern workforce. I think a lot of people are still struggling with that. Driving growth through digital marketing and social media strategies, weathering a crisis with your reputation intact. I'm sure, Lorri, you've done plenty to help clients with that sort of thing. And then generating leads to build loyal customers and building a resilient and recession-proof economy. I think a lot of people are worried about the economy and where it's heading, so we're hoping to talk about that as well. So for our audience members, if they would wish to register, you can do so at michamber.com and get $25 off with the promo code CHAMBER. But before we wrap things up today, Lorri and JD, I want to know just kind of another piece here. What should we know about small businesses or opportunities and resources in Michigan? What are some of those last things that you want our audience to kind of take away from this conversation? Lorri, you want to start?
Sure. And this is not rocket science. Lean on each other. Small business owners come together, and I was one of the first to sign up for this conference that you're holding, because when we come together, we not only share our challenges and the lessons learned, we look to the future and how we help each other. We reach out to each other. There's something very unique and organic about small business owners, is that we put that pound of flesh in, and we felt the hardships of the ups and downs, and we lift each other up, we step in, help each other, we connect each other to people needing their services and goods, and there's a real synergy. It's a sisterhood and brotherhood, if you will,
I like that.
of people who have rolled up their sleeves, either left corporate America or just started fresh and build it. And I love data. And I just want to share that, when you consider that 1 in 5 people who are employed by small businesses, that's an exceptional number. And
sure is.
900,000 plus small Michigan businesses, that represents, 1 of every 10 people in our population, that we are in the communities. We care about our local governments and our infrastructures, and we're helping build it by providing jobs.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I love that, like connections and community, right? That when we think about small business and small business owners thinking about interacting with each other, they can think about it in that regard. What about you, JD? One kind of big takeaway, one big thing for you to share with our audience?
I just really I loved what Lorri said, and I want to compound on that just to say no entrepreneur, no small business out there should feel like they have to go it alone. Michigan, like I said at the beginning, is such a great state for its support resources that there's plenty of people out there that are willing to help at no cost to your entrepreneur and small business. The SBDC is one of many. And given that I'm super proud of my organization and the team that we have here at the Michigan SBDC, I encourage anybody who is interested in entrepreneurism or a small business that needs a hand, or even if you think you know it all but you just want someone to hold you accountable, the Michigan Small Business Development Center, or the SBDC, is a great place to start. If we're not the right people to help you, we have the relationships throughout the state, and we can get you to the people that can help. And so to compound on Lorri's statement, this is a great ecosystem here in Michigan of entrepreneurs and small businesses. Don't feel like you got to go it alone. We've got tons of support out there.
Great. Yeah, JD, I would echo that. I mean, Michigan Chamber, we are here to help small businesses as well and help them make those connections that they need to help protect, connect, and strengthen their businesses. So, but with that, we're out of time. It goes by so fast, but a very special thank you to JD and Lorri for all of you who are listening. Make sure you tune in to our next episode of My Business Matters podcast. Thank you and have a great day.